Happy Saturday, Terps fans. Happy Saturday, Flex Zone family. We are live in living color for the official Maryland Terps football post-game show here on your Saturday, August 30th. Wow, August is over. And just like that, as we head into Labor Day, summertime is winding down. College football is back. The year 2025, yours truly, God's favorite host. Welcome into the Maryland Postgame Show here on the Flex Zone Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please come on over. Hit that thumbs up. We got plenty of Maryland football content, plenty of Maryland content, plenty of content in general. Something for everybody. I promise something you like. Hit that thumbs up. A big time win today for the Maryland Terps over the FAU Owls. If you're watching on X, shout out everybody on X. Come on over to YouTube, search the Flex Zone. Subscribe to the channel. We got a great Maryland preview where I deep dive into every aspect of the team. And we looked at the schedule. And I gave you my win projection and win totals as well. But today, it's no other way to start than with the man himself, one, the only, Malik Washington, officially doing his thing today. As you can see, a great game, 258 yards through the air, 3 passing touchdowns on 27 completions. Mike Locksley, Pep Hamilton were not shy to throw the true freshman in there. They were not shy to air the football out, throw the football all around the field. And you saw it evident today as Malik Washington pretty much became the first true freshman Maryland quarterback to start a season opener since 2012. So the second true freshman to start a season opener in program history, the first since 2012 with Perry Hills. So the second Maryland true freshman to start a season opener, the local kid, not too far from the Glen Burnie area in College Park. We know the hype. We know the overall just energy that this signing brought to the Maryland Terps football program, the 5-star recruit, the number 5 quarterback in the class of 2025. We were unsure if he would start today, but no better way to throw him into, see what he can do against an FAU team. Lesser competition, lesser talent, a team that you are supposed to dominate, a team that you should beat. And the Maryland Terps exactly did that today. They win 39-7, and they get a big win to start the season off 1-0. Yeah, you can't get to 5 or 6 wins and get to a bowl game if you don't win the first one. But you see right there, the Maryland Terps get it done today and defeat the Florida Atlantic Owls. It was a very a very sloppy start. You know, it's week 1 of college football. It's week 1 of just football in general. And, you know, teams are a little off. Teams are a little sloppy. Teams aren't tackling as well. Teams aren't just as sharp as they will be in about 2 or 3 weeks when they actually get into rhythm, get into the flow of the season. And you saw it today with the Terps. I put in the title, Penalties Galore. I said in my preview, the self-inflicteds have to stop. The self-inflicteds have to be a reason that they get over these humps, that they win some of these games that they're not supposed to, that they can steal a game or two against some superior competition in the Big Ten. They had 6 penalties in the first 5 minutes. Now, we can start with the ugly. We'll work our way up. We'll go from bad to good. But 6 penalties in the first 5 minutes, 8 penalties in the first quarter. Then on top of that, their first 5 possessions, they had 4 punts. No rhythm offensively, couldn't run the football effectively, couldn't get things going through the air. And Malik Washington was, 3 for 11, 19 yards? But after that, he was then 18 of 22, 181 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So that right there shows the wherewithal, shows the gall of Malik Washington, that he was able to bounce back and play his best game when it mattered most. He's a freshman. He's young. He's 18 years of age. He's going to make mistakes. And you saw that early on. He had some drop passes. He had some passes that probably should have been intercepted. But these are things you work through against these types of teams in the first couple of weeks. You got FAU down. You got Northern Illinois coming in on Friday night. And you have a big showdown against Towson in week 3. Now, we did get the news today, and it started with the announcement that Malik Washington would be the starting quarterback today. And we saw him coming in today clean with Coach Mike Locksley. So that was good to see. Both of them coming in together today, walking into battle. That was great to see as you see Malik Washington next to Coach Locksley. So that was a great visual there for everybody in College Park today. And it was buzzing since this morning. Everybody was excited about the news. This is the news we wanted to see. This is what we wanted to hear. And this is what we think is best for the franchise moving forward because there were a lot of big names in the crowd today. We had Derek Queen there. We had Ty Felton, Caden Prather, former Terps. We had some #1 recruits and some big-time recruits in the building, led by Zion Ely, which I'll get to in a second. But we actually did get to hear from Maryland athletic director, new athletic director, Jim Smith comes over. He's a new athletic director at Maryland. And this is what he had to say to the Big Ten tailgate this morning about getting fans into the stands.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance between honoring the past and moving forward. And so we've done that in a few stops in other jobs and really look forward to really understanding the traditions here and how we can complement them while introducing new ones. And, I think you may have brought it up. We need a new name. We need a name for our student section at Maryland football, right? And so that's just a start that we can create and start to create some identity for our student section.
So there you go, Jim Smith, athletic director of Maryland, talking about creating an identity, creating a name for the student section. He's about marketing. He's about fundraising. He's about making money, and that's what Maryland needs. They need that CEO, business-minded type individual to come in and revitalize and bring that culture back to Maryland. Malik Washington threw 3 touchdown passes in the second quarter. Maryland's defense, 2 touchdowns of their own, 39-7. This is Maryland's 16th consecutive non-conference victory. So Mike Locksley, say what you want about him. He wins his non-conference games, and he does a really good job at that as well. And if you look at it, and what is that? 26-5 is Maryland now in opening games since 1995. So 26-5 in season opening games since 1995. So they start pretty well. They get a win usually in week 1, do the Terps. They continued that today. Malik Washington, if you don't know, he's a 4-star recruit from nearby Glen Burnie. He was received with high praise, high expectations, and they started him early. As mentioned, he was 3 of 11 early on, but then it just got impressive. You see the quick release. You see the strong arm. He can make all of the throws. He's not really a runner. He's more of a pocket passer. Probably has to do a better job going through his second, third, fourth reads, not locking in and committing to one receiver, which we see with a lot of young quarterbacks. And I think this offense will only evolve and get better as the season progresses with Pep Hamilton. Would like to see a little bit more commitment to the running game, but nevertheless, great job there by Malik Washington and crew. Let's get the stats back up for you guys. As you can see, he threw the ball way more than I thought they would do. He threw the ball, what did he throw it? 43 times. So they were pretty much today, they were ready to come out and air it out. Were the Terps. And you can see right there, 43 attempts, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. Christian Martin did come into the game. Didn't really show me much with the passing game, but nevertheless, the Maryland Terps did it done there. Now, the very first drive, Maryland's defense had 5 penalties, and I was saying, well, here we go again, here we go again. But a big 4th down stop inside the 5-yard line, and then they opened their own scoring when Zaire Mathis hit Caden Beltcamp, the quarterback of FAU, as he threw, and Daniel Wingate picked off the pass and ran it back for 20 yards and a touchdown. So that was the start of the scoring there. I did mention there were some big-time recruits, and I'm going to show the highlights as well. There were some big-time recruits here today. Zion Ely was spotted. A 5-star recruit, #1 in his class. He was spotted today with others, and he was there today waving his Maryland flag, as you can see. So he was there today. Zion Ely was in the building today. You see Jim Smith with starting quarterback Malik Washington. You love to see that as well. The embrace, the suited and booted mentality, the business mentality of this team is really, really great as well. So that was great. You saw they were in the red and white, the classic Terps uniforms as well. And Nick Saban picked FAU as his underdog of the day, which was weird. As I mentioned, Ty Felton, Caden Prather were there as well, as a lot of NFL teams have the weekend off as they get ready for week 1 this upcoming week. So we got a lot of NFL content coming there as well. And big shout out to Lee Corso as well, former Maryland assistant coach on his last college game day as well. And pretty much we saw from there, and this is the play I was talking about. Let's get it on the big screen. This was the Zaire Mathis interception. Zaire Mathis is a guy you got to look out for on defense. 4-star out of Pennsylvania, #1 player in the state. So a good get there by Loxley as well. We talk about Malik Washington, Zion Ely, but looking at a guy like Zaire Mathis, who did go down with an injury, ankle injury, looks like he's going to be hopefully good to go moving forward. He was standing on the sideline, but tied up at 7 when Velkamp had a 27-yard pass to Assad Wasim. That was a early on defensively. I don't know what the Terps were doing. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what Ted Monchakino was doing, former Ravens defensive assistant. I don't know what he was doing, what he was calling. Some blitzes on 3rd down and man coverage, some zone plays, but they kind of got it together. They kind of dialed back the pressure and kind of rushed 4, and that was a really, really good adjustment. I like the adjustments they made throughout the game as well. Now, Shalik Knox was Malik Washington's first touchdown for 29 yards, as you can see there. And let's take a look at that play right here on the postgame show. Let's get to that play. So beautiful play there from Malik Washington. Beautiful dime. I mean, like I said, he can make all the throws. And shout out to D, our guy D. Happy birthday, brother. He was in the building today. He's been telling me Malik Washington's a savior. He's been telling me Malik Washington's the guy. And I don't debate that. But a true freshman and quarterback, it's going to be some adjustments, going to be some growing pains. But it was really good to see. And like you said, D, a lot of Terps were in the house. I got some of the names as well. But I do want to go to the Caleb Webb touchdown as well. Both quarterbacks reached 30 pass attempts in the first half as well. And Maryland's streak of non-conference wins is the longest in the FBS as well. And Maryland had 14 penalties overall. But despite that, the defense got a lot of pressure on the quarterback and got 6 interceptions. I believe that is the most. That is what? The most Maryland interceptions since 1998 versus Duke. I know you love to hear that, D. So 1998 versus Duke, the most interceptions as they had 6 today. So great job by the Maryland defense as well. As Maryland will host Northern Illinois on Friday night. Now let's look at the touchdown pass to Caleb Webb, which was from Malik Washington. Caleb Webb, the Tennessee transfer as well. Let's see that play. Great throw. Great throw by Malik Washington. A beautiful adjustment by Webb to come back to the football. So that was really, really great. And Maryland was up 33-7 at the half. Malik Washington was 21 of 33 with 192 yards and what was that? 2 touchdowns? Or 3 touchdowns in the first half, excuse me. Shalik Knox, 4 receptions, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. And DeJon Williams, 5 carries for 66 yards. DeJon Williams seems to be, or today was the running back of the day, the flavor of the day. At running back, Nolan Ray didn't get as many carries as I thought. But you see, they have 2 good running backs, Nolan Ray and DeJon Williams. And it was pretty much over at halftime. I mean, Maryland only had 6 points in the second half. And I will say that the special teams of Maryland is a complete 180, a complete difference this season. I mean, they have a kicker. They have a punter who we already know about, McPherson. And looking at the special teams real quick, because I do want to show some love to them. I mean, you just look at it, the kicking, and I'll pull it up for you guys so you can see with me. At the kicking here of the Terps. And as you can see, Sean O'Hare, the new kicker, not the former wrestler, the new kicker from Richmond, FCS school, 3 for 3, 49-yard long, 4 for 4 in his extra points, 13 points today. And Bryce McPherson, 7 punts, 2 inside the 20 with a long of 62. So the special teams of Maryland is going to be a key for this team. Special teams is always a key we talk about in these games. Got to give love to Sean O'Hare and Bryce McPherson. They're going to keep Maryland in a lot of games because you see O'Hare can kick it from 50, 55 plus. So they will have opportunities to score points, and McPherson can punt the ball with the best of them as far as distance and getting it inside of the 20 for the Terps. So great job there, as mentioned. And Ricardo Cooper, I think, had a decent job with some of the kick returns. Punt returns really wasn't much to write home about, but Ricardo Cooper is someone to look for in the return game, maybe as the guy who can take the reins and really help elevate this team as a special teams, because a lot of times in these games, field position is so important, and getting a good punt return, getting a good kick return, making your kicks, making your extra points is vital for this team. You look at the interceptions: Daniel Wingate, Dante Joyner, Ricardo Cooper, Levain Scruggs, Braden Lee, and Lakai Rowland all contributed to the interceptions, as we had 6 total as well. And you look at the defense. Defense was just going crazy today. Daniel Wingate, the new linebacker whose name you need to know, inside linebacker, team high 10 tackles. He did his thing today, and he was on fire. He balled out as well. Now back to the recruits. I did want to touch on them recruit because I do have the names besides Ely, and shout out to Inside Maryland Sports. We got the good folks over there helping us out with the information. But looking at this here, you see it. A trio of Maryland commits from St. Francis. If you know anything about St. Francis, nationally ranked, some of the best talent in the country. They won on national TV last week in Florida, and that showcase that was on ESPN dominated. Not even just one, they dominated. But 3-star cornerback Kamari Bing, who had some big plays on that showcase game in ESPN, he's committed to Maryland for next year. 5-star edge Zion Ely, possibly #1 in his class. He is committed to Maryland. Hopefully he stays. 3-star cornerback Hakeem Satterwhite, also here as well. So 2 corners and an edge rusher. You look at what you had today with Wingate. I mean, you gotta like that. Zaire Mathis. I mean, those could be pieces of the future that you could really say in 2026 with Malik Washington coming into year 2. There could be a lot of potential next year for this team. That's why I'm not so quick to say, hey, let's get rid of Loxley. Hey, let's go get rid. No, because he's bought these guys in. I think he deserves a chance to coach them. Because then if you get rid of them, who's to say these guys don't jet and leave too? So that's another thing as well. Big news today as we had one of the best Terps of all time, in my opinion, especially on the basketball side. Derek Queen was in the building today as he received his Big Ten Freshman of the Year and All Big Ten First Team Award as well. So shout out to him. He's next to new athletic director Jim Smith as well. So that was wonderful as well. So that is great to see Derek Queen back. Like I said, Ty Felton, Prather, the recruits, Ely, Bing, and others from St. Francis. I'm sure there were other recruits there as well that I don't know or I'm aware of. But usually these are the games you want to bring them to because 1, you're to win. 2, you're favored to win handsomely. And 3, you're favored to win handsomely and look good. And these guys can envision themselves saying, oh, wow, I can do that with this team. I can have a great opportunity and see the atmosphere. Kids are getting back into class. Classes start this week. It's a beautiful day outside because the schedule gets a little tougher. But this is Maryland's lightest schedule ever. They have to take advantage. I went out on a limb. I said, hey, they could maybe sneak into a bowl win because I don't really fear any of the first 5 or 6 teams they play. Yeah, they got to go to Wisconsin. Yeah, they got to play Washington for the first time ever. Yeah, they got to go to UCLA. But are you fearing any of those teams? Are those quarterbacks on those teams better than Malik Washington, who's only played 1 game? I know, but you see the potential. You see why he's a 5-star. I don't really fear any of those teams. Now, obviously, you got to play the Michigans. You got to play the Michigan States on the road. You have some tough games, but I think Maryland's going to be in a lot of games potentially. You have good special teams, which travels. You have a good defense, which travels. If they can find some sort of running game, which travels, I gotta like some of their chances against some of these teams. Now, not saying they're going to beat all of them, but they could be in a lot of these games, maybe more than they were last year, where they were getting run off the field, and we were all in here complaining and saying, "Well, they need to do better." But I think that is very, very important as well. So it's very, very imperative that they continue to do what they keep doing as well. Like I said, 16 straight non-conference games, the longest in the nation as well, and that was great to see. That was really, really good to see. And real quick, uh, Maryland was just dominant in every type of way, and it was very, very good to see how they played together as a team. As I mentioned, the offense, the defense, and special teams kind of were simpatico and kind of did their thing as well. And for the most part, injury wise, they didn't really have any major injuries. Now, things I took away from this game, the receiving room is very deep. Malik Washington, which I loved, he spread the ball around. Knotts, Webb, Jalil Farouk, Octavian Smith Jr., Dorian Fleming, all showed the ability to make plays in the receiving game. All of those guys, all 5 of them, had multiple catches. Dorian Fleming did lead the way with 6 overall. Let me pull up the stats so you guys can see with me. He had 6 catches overall. We know the Georgia State transfer, so he looks fantastic. And you gotta like what you see: 6 catches, 36 yards, 4 him. And then as we look at the running backs, they can catch as well. Nolan Ray and Dejon Williams had 5 catches themselves out of the backfield. Ryan Manning and tight end Leon Halton Jr. also caught passes as well. So you spread the ball around that many different receivers. Look at all these guys in the stat sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different guys catching the football. That is hard for a defense to stop. That is hard for a defense to account for. And I agree. I'm not buying Indiana this year. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I don't buy Michigan State either, even though I know it's a road game at Ford Field, I believe, at the end of the year. I'm not really buying UCLA. I'm not buying Wisconsin. I'm not buying Washington. You don't have to play Oregon. You don't have to play Penn State. You don't have to play Ohio State. I'm really not even high on Michigan, honestly. If you want to say Davenport is the number 1 quarterback, cool. But Malik Washington will be waiting for you in a couple weeks in Maryland or later this season in Maryland. And we'll see who really the number 1 quarterback is in this class because, yeah, Davenport's the guy. Yeah, he made a lot of money from the Barstool guy getting paid. But I think Malik Washington is going to hold his own and show that he's just as good as any freshman quarterback in the college football game that we have today. Also, another takeaway I wanted to put, Sean O'Hare, as I mentioned, the Ireland native was 12 for 12 on field goal attempts last year at Richmond. It was his first season playing American football at any level. He was perfect today. All 3 of his field goals, a 49-yarder, his long, and all 4 of his extra points. And now there were now I do got to talk about the injuries. Unfortunately, I got to get to the unfortunate side of this, which I hate talking about with these games and things that kind of put a somber undertone over the cloud over the big win. Offensive lineman Jalen Gilchrist, 4-star recruit, suffered a right leg injury in the 4th quarter after he came in for starting left guard Isaiah Wright. In garbage time, he was carted off in a cast, so he's probably done for the year. Gilchrist is a key depth piece for Maryland that doesn't have much depth, but he is a plan for the future as well. But it'll be interesting to see as well. Justin Martin was also banged up after Gilchrist left the game. He walked off the field with trainers, but did not return as well. So I think the Maryland offensive line, though, all things accounted for today, played a lot better than we saw last year. I think defensively, they didn't give up any sacks, right? I don't think FAU had any sacks. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. FAU didn't have any sacks. And I think that is great there by the offensive line of Maryland. And hopefully this offensive line can continue to get better, continue to play better. This is not a finished product. This is week 1. So this is probably the most sloppy, the most undisciplined you'll play all season, hopefully. And you can stack and be better as we head towards different parts of the season. Let's look at the team stats real quick. 23 first downs to 22, 7 for 20 on 3rd down, 5 for 17 was Maryland, 0 for 2 on 4th down, 380 total yards, 268 through the air. And the 6 interceptions stood out, 112 yards on the ground, 3.7 per attempt, and 14 penalties, though. You can't have 14 penalties for 100 yards. You're giving up 100 yards in penalties, that is going to kill you. That is going to get you blown off the field against top-tier talent. So we can't have that happening. But all things considered, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I'm not going to complain about it too much. I think that's something they will correct. They have to correct. Mike Lossy said they get back to work tomorrow because they have a short week. Friday night game, lost time of possession 30-29. FAU had 7 penalties of their own, but Maryland's got to stay under 6 or 7 penalties. They got to stay 5 or less. That's the magic number. If they can stay 5 or less, I think they will be in a lot of these games. But if they're committing 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 penalties and then getting over 100 yards in penalty yards, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them to overcome that. But that is really, really good on their end to get the job done. They handled their business. They didn't play with their food, and they pretty much showed what they're capable of from this aspect that they have. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent, and they have a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, to show what they can do as well. We got a picture as well with some pro Terps in the house. There we go. Let's see. We got the other Terps who were here. A lot of, like I said, always good to see you guys come back and support the program and help usher in the new era of Maryland football. So that was good to see as well. And like I said, having the recruits, having guys who are in the NFL come back and show love is really, really good. Like I said, Loxley puts guys in the NFL. Say what you want about Loxley. He puts guys in the NFL, and you see it right then, and you see it right there as well. Now, next Friday, they play Northern Illinois. That is a 7:30 game on Big Ten Network, and it is really, really going to be very, very good to see what they do against them. Now, they have a lot of turnover on their roster as well, but we'll see kind of how they kind of turn around and play on a short week. How do they come back and how do they, and I guess, improve on what they've done so far this first game of the season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how they improve because I think they can definitely get better. They can definitely get better. They can definitely show, and we can definitely see that as well as uh, we got the Maryland football defense here. Like I said, the defense is a complete 180. Last year, the defense was terrible, and then you see today what they're able to complete and accomplish. Most interceptions in the game since 1998. Hopefully, it stays a no-fly zone. Hopefully, it definitely stays a no-fly zone for the Terps, and they continue that as well as we hear from we got words from Michael Oxley and we got words from Malik Washington telling the fans to come out and support them on Friday night, which I think they will because of a win. It's a Friday night, and it will be something to see area. So let's hear from Malik Washington.
What's good, Terp Nation? Malik Washington, second in here from CQ Stadium, man. Want to know Terps? I better see all y'all in attendance next Friday. Go Terps!
You heard the man. He wants to see you next Friday, this coming Friday against Northern Illinois as well. Have Loxley here. Let's play what he said after the game from his interview with Big Ten Network. Let's hear as well. Let's get that one here. You can see there Mike Loxley just a inhale, exhale, because he didn't know what he was walking into this season with this team, and none of us really did. We just knew you have a 5-star quarterback. Now, how many great recruits have we heard in college football that have never amounted to anything? So just because you're a 5-star, 4-star, highly touted, NIL money coming out the transfer portal doesn't mean you still have to go out there and perform. I mean, look at today, Arch Manning. He didn't live up to the expectations that people put on him. I was a little hesitant. I pumped the brakes because I always say this at the quarterback position, you need reps, you need experience. 2 starts, I can't say you're the best player in college football. I can't say you're the Heisman Trophy winner. I can't say you're the number 1 pick. We're just going off of potential and projections. We don't know what you're going to be. And Ohio State defense, even with all the attrition, new players in, new players out, they showed that they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Arch has some work to do, as does a lot of these teams. It's week 1. It's going to be the biggest overreaction week of the season. Wait till we get to the NFL season after week 1. It's going to be so many overreactions. We're going to have to write a list like Chris Jericho. So that is going to be something to look forward to. But you do want to see this team get better. We do have the post game conference. Let's play the Malik Washington highlights, and we'll listen to Coach Loxley, and we'll kind of listen to what he had to say, and then we'll wrap it up and get out of here. Let's look at Malik Washington's highlight from his wonderful spec here. The poise, the control of the offense, settling in, being in sync and rhythm, because when you're in sync and in rhythm as a quarterback, as an offense, it makes things so much easier, and it allows it to show on the field today. And the Terps, like I said, they did their thing. They did their thing. They showed out, and as you can see, big victory move today. The defense, the confidence that'll instill in them. The coaching staff, they'll see what they have on this team. They have some speed. They have the ability to play downhill. They have the ability to swarm to the football, and they have the ability to force turnovers and get takeaways, which I think is going to be very, very essential to keep them in some of these games they may not have the most talent in as well. Let's hear from Mike Loxley today with the post-game press conference.
Camp where I really think these guys worked their tails off. Obviously, with that said, we still didn't play our best. The things we can correct, and you always see your biggest strides usually between game 1 and game 2, and so the things that need to get corrected, I expect us to get them corrected, and that's the penalties, that's the sideline organization things, which are very atypical of as many new people we have involved in our program. So I'm looking forward to getting that corrected, especially here with a short week. Played a ton of young, impactful players, and I've been talking about the freshmen all camp for a long, long time, the Sidney Stewarts, Zaire Mathises, the Malik Washingtons, and as I've said, they've played as advertised, and they'll only get better. Our defense, some of the things that affected us a year ago in terms of being able to get our hands on turnovers and the defensive backs contesting catches and I thought they played really well to be able to force 6 turnovers in the first game. But now it's back to work as quickly as we can get there. This will be a short-lived celebration for us with a short week in Northern Illinois coming in here on Friday night to the Shell. And I know our team's excited to be able to get the things corrected, get back on the field this week, and put together a game plan to find a way to take care of business next Friday night. With that, I'll open up the questions.
So there you go. You heard from Mike Locksley there. Short week. They'll get back to work as they have a big time matchup with Northern Illinois on this coming Friday. And as we look at the schedule here, as I mentioned, the Maryland Terps have a shot. They have a shot. They have a shot to sneak up on some people and win some games they maybe not supposed to or favored in. But that's going to be very, very cool. As I mentioned, they have a big time matchup on Friday. 7:30 kickoff by Sardi's Peruvian Chicken. So shout out to Sardi's. Go get your Peruvian chicken. 7:30 on Friday. That is on Big Ten Network. And then on the 13th, that following Saturday, they host Towson and state rivals on Peacock. That will be a noon kickoff as well. And then, like I said, you go to Wisconsin and Washington. I don't know if they're going to be able to win both of those games because you can only take it one game at a time. We don't know what's going to happen between now and then. But like Loxley said, you make your biggest improvements between week 1 and week 2. Could it be a situation where they win both or one of the two against Wisconsin or Washington? That's why I said I could see if they can win that first 3. Could they start 4-1, 5-0, 5-2? And I think that will go a long way as we head down the stretch run of the season where you got to go to Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska, I don't even really think Nebraska's that good, honestly. And you guys can let me know in the chat. I don't think Nebraska's that good. They're okay. They have the names, but are they really that good? And is Malik Washington, I mean, is Raiola that much better than Malik Washington? Just looking at it on the surface? Like I said, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois is going to be tough. And that might be a blowout. And then Michigan and Michigan State. So, I mean, let's see what they do. Let's see what they can do. We can only take it one game at a time. We can only take it one play at a time, one series at a time, one quarter at a time. But you're going to be favored against Northern Illinois. You're going to be favored against Towson. Like I said, I don't really know what Wisconsin is. They got Billy Edwards. He's day-to-day, former Maryland Terps quarterback. He doesn't scare me. Washington, Nebraska, UCLA don't scare me. Indiana doesn't really scare me either. Remember last year, homecoming, they beat USC. Rutgers doesn't scare me. Illinois, Michigan, and Michigan State. And even Michigan State doesn't look that good. So honestly, Illinois, who's the flavor of the month this year in the Big Ten, and Michigan. And like I said, we'll see who the best freshman quarterback is when Michigan comes here on November 22nd. But that'll be a fun one. Maybe that'll be a primetime game. Or maybe afternoon. That might be the late window game. I could see that being a 3 or 4 o'clock start, 3:30 start. But the Michigan State game is also at Ford Field in Detroit where the Lions play. But I'm not stressing about it. I'm not worrying about it. I think that this team, like I said, we'll take it one game at a time. Friday night games. I love the Friday night primetime games for Maryland. I love when they get those opportunities on the national stage, quote unquote. I think that there should be hopefully all black. We get a blackout. I would love to see those black jerseys return. I think that would be very, very cool. But we will see. We'll see what happens because I want to see what, like I said, I want to see how they play in week 2. I want to see how they improve from week 1 to week 2. I want to see how they kind of just bring themselves to play even better. Because I think with 14 penalties, they could play even better, in my opinion. They could do even more with the opportunities and the talent. Like I said, a lot of freshmen. Like I said, he didn't know what he was going to get. And a lot of times you don't know what you're going to get with freshmen until you actually get out on the field. But it's great to see that they did what they needed to do. And we got some answers. Like I said, we got some answers. I think Malik Washington earns at least a B+ today. Like I said, he may have missed some throws. Could have had some intercepted. And he has some drops. But I think it's really, really good to see him bounce back after some of those plays which weren't so great and make plays and make some of the throws that you can see he can make from every hash and making plays on the run. Like I said, maybe the evolution with him is, like I said, being able to go through his second, third, fourth reads, maybe even using his legs a little bit when nothing is there. And like I said, I want to see the ball a little more effectively. I want to see some more running of the football because I think you have not one but 2 running backs in Nolan Ray and of course in Dejon Williams. Like I said, he only got 10 carries. Ray got 8. So, I mean, they had 30 carries as a team, but even Iverson Howard had 8 for 23. But like I said, I think Williams and Ray need to at least get 12 to 15 touches apiece. I think it's important that they at least get 10 to 12 touches apiece because you've seen it. They were able to spread the ball around. They can also catch the football out of the backfield. So it's not just carries. You can throw it to them 4 or 5 times. You can use the screen game. You can use the draws. You can use those types of misdirections and jet sweeps to get guys the football. So that is going to be very, very important. And I think every week there could be a different guy that stands out on offense because there are so many different types of weapons that can be very, very productive with this team. So it's a very good job, a very good win for Maryland football today, and I'm very, very pleased, very, very excited from what they've done and kind of what they brought to the table today. But big time win, and this is what you're supposed to do against the teams you're supposed to beat. Don't play with your food, handle your business, and even despite 14, just imagine if they didn't have 14 penalties, they might have put up 50 points. So these are things you have to think about. These are things you have to take into account. You don't want to have 14 penalties against anybody. But when you're playing lower level competition, you can get away with that. But that is the biggest takeaway. They have to stop the self-inflictors. Now, let's see how they do week 1 to week 2. This is where coaching, this is where Mike Loxley comes into play. This is where we judge your coaching ability, Mike, because you had 14 today with freshmen, a lot of new pieces, a lot of new guys in and out. You kind of see who the cream rises to the top. You kind of see who is going to be your standouts. Let's see what you do week 1 to week 2. Like you said, you got a home game, short week. Can you go from 14 penalties to maybe 6 or 7? There needs to be an improvement, I think, in the penalties, and I think that can really catapult this team to where they need to go because I think the running game will be better. I think the defense will continue to play with confidence and energy, like you've seen today, swarming to the football, playing downhill. And then I think special teams, if you got special teams like that, they're going to keep you in the game pretty much each and every day, and they're going to be a chance for you to be very, very successful, in my opinion. Now, Maryland plays, like I said, Northern Illinois on Friday night. That is a 7:30 kickoff. Northern Illinois had 30 players leave this off coordinator, new offensive and new defensive coordinator as well. Can't forget that as well. I don't know if Northern Illinois has played yet. Did they play yet? I don't think they played today. They must play today. They're playing right now. So we'll see. We'll see who and what players. We'll get a preview out this week of that as well. But that's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens there with Northern Illinois, like what players, because like I said, they lost 30 guys. They've lost. We'll see kind of what happens there on that end as well. Now, we do have a great college slate of football today. As we know, Labor Day weekend, college football is back. A lot of big-time matchups, a lot of marquee matchups. We're going to take a quick look around some of those matchups. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, hit the bell. If you're watching on X, come on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, search the Flex Zone Podcast. Real quick, some of these scores. There's a lot of games going on right now, and we're in the midst of watching a good one right now with Alabama and Florida State. I saw you guys in the chat talking about it. They are on right now. And then Monday night, we got a TCU and Notre Dame as Bill Belichick makes his debut in Chapel Hill. Florida State up 14-7 over Alabama currently, but Indiana up 24-7. They have a lot of Maryland. Well, they got some Maryland guys. Roman Hemby at running back. We know they made the college football playoff last year. I'm not really saying they're going to be better than last year. I'm not really buying them as a playoff team, but they're ranked top 20. And they're not going to be easy to beat. They're well coached. They have a lot of depth, a lot of talent. And I think they got some good talent, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. But they're ranked number 20. They're handling business right now, up 24-7 over Old Dominion. Penn State, I mean, is James Franklin going to be able to get it done? Is James Franklin going to be able to get over the hump? You got maybe the best quarterback in the nation. You got 2 of the best running backs in the nation. You got maybe the best defense in the nation. You got a lot of weapons that you bought in. And a light, easy schedule. Are you going to be able to get it done? Are you going to be able to win the Big Ten? Are you going to be able to beat Ohio State? Are you going to be able to beat those teams like Oregon? Because I'm not sleeping on Oregon either. I think Oregon at number 7, they're quietly going to be in the mix as well when you look at the Big Ten. So can Penn State get it done this year? Obviously, they're playing Nevada. They'll probably win this easily. They're already up 23. But Drew Aller, I think it's going to be as far as he takes them. Despite James Franklin's shortcomings, if Drew Allen can play like the potential first-round pick that he is, I think there could be some opportunity to get it done. And as I'm watching Alabama's defense just get manhandled and out physical by Florida State, I said this game, that spread was really high, in my opinion. We'll get to that in a second. But I thought that spread was too high, and I thought Florida State could potentially cover. That's an upset I was looking at. Like, if it was a team that could lose in the top 10, I was looking at Florida State, Alabama. But Georgia, can't forget them either. In the SEC, ranked number 5, 21-0 over Marshall. Kirby Smart. It's pretty much been a motto of consistency, winning national championships with an S, multiple, plural, since coming to Georgia. Pretty much taking everything Nick Saban taught him and taking it to his own level. So they're up 21-0. They're going to have a good season, as I mentioned. Alabama and Florida State. This is the game you probably want to watch right now. This is probably the most entertaining game in this window. 14-7. Florida State is driving with second down on the Alabama side of the field. And they're just running the football down their throat. They are controlling the line of scrimmage. They're being a more physical team. Their offensive line is dominating Alabama's defensive line. And we got a situation where Florida State, I don't know if they're going to win this game, but if you talk about upsets, you talk about covering the spread, I think you got to look at Florida State. And I think Florida State may be a little bit better than people think this season. And we know the terrible season they had last year as we look at their quarterback, he's got some moves. So what's that, Tommy Castellanos? Yeah, he's got some moves, number one. He's got some moves, so he's got some speed. So he's going to be something to look forward to as well. Iowa State off of their big win against Kansas State last week, up 24-7 over Iowa State. So right after the game in Ireland, they come right back to the States, and they're dominating, up 24-7. As I mentioned, Oregon and Dan Lanning, I think they're going to be solid. They got a new quarterback, but they're up 17-0 over Montana State. Oklahoma is ranked number 18. I don't know how good they are this year. They play Illinois State at 6 p.m. Florida, where's my guy Dylan now? Shout out to Dylan. His Gators are playing Long Island at 7. And we got Kansas State and North Dakota on ESPN Plus at 7. Texas A&M, how good are they this year? They're number 19. They play at 7 on ESPN. The big game tonight, 7:30, LSU Clemson. I'm looking at Clemson. I think Clemson's going to win. I think Clemson and Florida State already has over 100 yards rushing. They only averaged about 90 last year for the whole game. They already got over 100 in the first half, and we still got 4 minutes left, and they're driving as I'm looking at this game and speaking to you guys. But I think Clemson wins tonight. I think Dabo, Cade Klubnik, I think some of the guys they've brought in, they've got a lot of guys who have been there for a while that they've recruited and developed. And I think Clemson is going to win tonight. They are 4.5-point favorites. I think they could cover that spread, but I think it'll be a close game. I don't know how good Nessmeyer is going to be. I don't really have faith in Brian Kelly. I believe they lost, 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen at LSU. So it's going to be a tough place to play in Death Valley tonight. Clemson is a hard place to play, and I'm going with Clemson to get the win tonight. Michigan, good. I'm intrigued to see Mr. Davenport, the number 1 quarterback, against New Mexico. They play at 7:30 on NBC and Peacock, so I'll be checking in on that game as well. Like I said, I want to see that freshman matchup, November 22nd, that Saturday, hopefully in that maybe afternoon or evening window, maybe primetime window. Maybe we can get a nice 7:30 primetime game at College Park inside the Shell, another night game with the All Black against Michigan. We'll get Michigan and the 2 freshman quarterbacks going at it. That's what I'm envisioning down the road long term, so we'll see how that plays out. Texas Tech ranked 23 in the nation. They face Arkansas Pine Bluff. Texas Tech in the SEC. No, Texas Tech they're in the Big 12. In the Big 12. So all this conference realignment. So please forgive me, but that'll be interesting to watch as well. Ole Miss faces Georgia State. I didn't even know Ole Miss was ranked top 20 or in the top 21. So we'll see how good they are. SMU, who was a playoff team last year, they're still in the mix. They play East Texas at 9 o'clock. And then we have Arizona State, who was in the playoffs last year as well. We remember Scatterbo and that team, how they made a nice run. They got Northern Arizona. They play at 10 o'clock. They could be a team that can win the Big 12 again, go back-to-back, and they could even get back to the playoffs. So that'll be interesting to see as well. The big game today was Texas and Ohio State. Pretty much a defensive struggle. Let's look at the box score. That was a defensive struggle, 14-7. And we'll look at the numbers real quick. Julian Sane, the SoCal kid, makes his debut, 13 of 20, 126 yards, 1 touchdown. Pretty much did his thing today. He didn't lose the game. He managed the game well. And I think C.J. Donaldson Jr., who they brought in from West Virginia, who's had some of the best numbers in college football at the running back position with touchdowns. He had 67 yards, and Peoples with 20 yards, Sam with only 2 yards rushing. Arch Manning 17 of 30, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Pedestrian 170 yards. I think we got to give credit to both of these defenses. Like I said, it's week 1. This is a big time matchup. I think it was a lot of a filling out process. It was like a classic heavyweight fight of 2 really good defensive fighters. Neither one wanting to go for the big blow to knock the other out and leave themselves exposed to get knocked out. But Ohio State methodically doing enough with the new offensive coordinator, Brian Hartline, and the receiver coach, doing enough. And defensively, having the pencil guy, Matt Patricia. Get your pencils back. He's the defensive coordinator with Ohio State, and he did a really good job. Had that defense playing well. I got my pen. I don't have a pencil, but I got my pen right here. As you can see, Matt Patricia doing his thing with the defense there. Contravion Wisner, 80 yards. C.J. Baxter, 40 yards. We know Texas has a really good backfield. They can run the ball as good as anybody. We could see this matchup again. This could be a potential college football playoff matchup. This could be a national championship matchup. And Cardinal Tate, 2 for 49 with a touchdown. I think he's a game-breaking type receiver. Look out for him. We know about how good Jeremiah Smith is. He has 6 for 43. I think he had 2 drops, too. He changed his gloves midway through the game as I was watching this, and Maryland had the 2 devices working watching the games. But Jeremiah Smith's going to be in the Heisman conversation. So this is probably the worst game both teams are going to play all year. Thankfully, in the BCS, their season will be over. Texas if they lost. But with the playoffs, Texas is in the SEC, and Texas has a tough schedule. We'll look at the schedule too, but we'll see how they bounce back. I think Texas has to go to Georgia still too, but yeah, outside of that, it was a really good defensive game. A lot of defensive plays. We saw some big 4th down and short yardage stops from Ohio State when I don't like Texas just going for the quarterback sneaks and the generic basic play calls, but we'll see. Like I said, I think Ryan Day and his coaching staff maybe outcoached Steve Sarkisian a little bit and game plan and schemed a little bit better, but the Texas defense only gave up 14 points. So if Arch is that guy and they are that guys that they're supposed to be on offense, they got to get more than 14 points. They should be able to score 14 points. It is what it is, though. But Texas and Ohio State, that was the matchup we were looking forward to. And as I look at the Texas schedule real quick, they have Jose State University, UTEP, and then they got at Florida versus Oklahoma, at Georgia, and versus Texas A&M. So they got 4 really tough games, in my opinion. What is that? Yeah, at Florida, not going to be easy. Versus Oklahoma, number 18, at home, not going to be easy. We know the Red River rivalry is always a fun matchup of rivals. At Georgia, that's going to be tough. That'll be a primetime game probably. And then Texas A&M at home to end the season. That's going to be tough too if Texas A&M is as good as we think they are. So that is going to be very, very intriguing. Ohio State, real quick, they have a pretty light schedule. They do play at Illinois, number 12. That is coming up this season, and they go and host Penn State as well. And then, of course, they end the season at Michigan, who they've lost to the last 4 years. So that's something to look forward to there. But Ohio State's schedule isn't that tough because I think Ohio State can beat Penn State. They own them. And at Illinois, we'll see how good they are with that game. But, I mean, with this win, Ohio State, and I think Ohio State's better than Michigan this year. Could Ohio State maybe run the table and be number 1 seed yet again? That'd be interesting to see. Like I said, they don't play Oregon, so I guess they would only see Oregon possibly in the Big Ten championship if things shake out the way they do. And, I mean, they had 2 classic games last year, so there you go. But Tennessee, who Nico Iamaleava left, went to UCLA. They got a new quarterback. They get a win in Syracuse, 45-26, number 24 ranked Volunteers there as well. As mentioned, this was last week. Iowa State beat Kansas State. And on Thursday, we kicked things off with a big upset as South Florida dominated Boise State, pretty much held them, scoreless through 3 quarters. They only scored once in the first quarter and then scoreless the rest of the way. They win 34-7. South Florida with a big win. And Illinois with a big win last night, kind of doing what they were supposed to do, 52-3, dominating and thrashing Western Illinois. We got a big game tomorrow, Sunday. I'm looking for Lenore Sellers in South Carolina. That is one of the sleeper teams I'm really liking. I think they had a strong end to the season last year. Probably should have been a playoff team potentially. They played in the bowl game with all their guys. look to be focused and determined to get back to it. Lenore Sellers is on my Heisman watch list. Kind of reminds me of that Lamar Jackson type. Can throw, can run, has the size and ability to do what he needs to do. I'm looking for South Carolina to be competitive in the SEC. Maybe they can make it to the SEC championship. We'll see. But I think South Carolina has a really, really good shot. I mean, let's look at their schedule real quick. They play Virginia Tech. So, yeah, they got at LSU versus Oklahoma. They play Alabama. They play Mississippi at Ole Miss, and then at Texas A&M, and then they play Clemson. That's a rivalry, the South Carolina rivalry. So they got a tough schedule. I mean, they got Clemson in the year, at Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, at LSU. I mean, there's no easy Saturdays or whatever day you play when you play in the SEC. So we know that. But for an interesting season from South Carolina, if they can somehow keep maybe no more than 2 losses, they could be in the mix for the potential to get into the college football playoff as well. And then tomorrow on Sunday night, we got Notre Dame at Miami. I don't know. Notre Dame has a really easy schedule too, because they play, I think after this game, what they got at Miami and Texas A&M. So if they can just make it through the first 2 weeks, they got Boise State. I don't think it's that good. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I really think that they have a very light schedule for Notre Dame. And we know how good their defense is. They lost Al Golden now with the Bengals, but they bring in a young defensive coordinator. I think he's going to do the job. A lot of good players on defense. Jeremiah Love may be the best running back in college football. The 2 running backs they have. So that's going to be something to look forward to. And they play Navy. Yeah, they got a pretty light schedule. If they can beat Miami, they have everybody wants to root for the U. I really like Freeman though as the coach. I think I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. Go Notre Dame on the road. I think the defense and the running game can carry them through. Now Miami and the ACC as well. How do they look this year? They got Carson Beck, the highly paid Carson Beck. Now if they can win tomorrow, they have Florida. They play SMU, who was a playoff team last year. They have a light schedule. So maybe Miami can sneak into the playoffs. We'll see, because it's going to be intriguing to see what happens there. Unfortunately, the tragic situation with Hayes charged with vehicular homicide. But we'll see. We'll see what Miami can do. I mean, it's going to be an interesting season. Then on Monday, like I said, Bill Belichick debuts in Chapel Hill against T. So that'll be fun as well. It's the official Maryland postgame show. This was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will have live coverage throughout the season for Maryland Terps football. We'll get pregame shows in when we can. As you can see, we'll do live postgame shows where we're immediately reacting to and recapping and analyzing the game and looking ahead to next week. Since next week's game is a Friday night affair, we will be live streaming that game. So we'll be live watching that game here with you, reacting to it, watching all the big plays, watching all the big moments right here on the Flex Zone podcast. So Maryland, Northern Illinois, Friday night, 7:30. Join us here live play-by-play, live watch-along, watch party. We'll come, have some fun, hang out, watch the game together, talk about it, react to it live. Then you may get a short-form recap maybe that night. And then I think what we'll do moving forward when they get back to the normal Saturday schedule, we'll do the live post games after the show as well, or after the game as well, because sometimes during the game I'm doing multiple things and I can't necessarily sit here and do a whole watch along and stream by myself. So I'm doing what I'm doing. Then I'll recap, take my notes, get all the information, and we'll do what we do here. We'll kill it. Give you the best post-game show out there for the Maryland Terps and for college football. We'll recap all the scores, all the big moments, any of the upsets, any of the big storylines. That's what we'll do here on the Flex Zone podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. Make sure if you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up. When you hit that thumbs up, it pushes us out to the algorithm. It pushes us out to other Maryland Terps fans, other Maryland football fans, other college football fans, and allows them to see the content that we do here. Like I said, if you're watching on X, coming over to YouTube, the mothership, so much great content. If you're into pro wrestling, we got Clash in Paris live tomorrow. We may be live a little later today with the preview and predictions. We got preview and predictions from yours truly of each match broken down, predictions, and how I see things playing out. We were live for SmackDown. We will be live for everything moving forward. We got WrestlePalooza. We got All Out on that side. We're live for the weekly shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW as well. And like I said, we covered Maryland Terps football. We've covered the Maryland Terps' great basketball season this past year. We'll have more basketball content coming up. We have great contributors who cover the Terps, like my guy Jeff Ermer from Inside MD Sports as well. So we'll have all that for you this year. Terps get a big 39-7 victory over FAU, start the season 1-0, 16th consecutive non-conference win, and it's going to be intriguing. I'm going to sit here and watch the Alabama-Florida State game as they head towards halftime, and we'll see kind of what happens there. Make sure if you haven't already, join us. Hit the subscribe button. You want to be a member, you can join us. Exclusive content, exclusive emotes, as well as it's now raining in Florida State. We got a big downpour coming through as an incomplete pass there for Alabama. So we'll see what happens there. But stay tuned. We'll have all your coverage throughout the college football season and when NFL season starts, which we are a week away from. We cover the Ravens, we cover the Commanders, we cover all 32 NFL teams. We will not only have the Baltimore Ravens postgame show, as they will play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. We'll be live for that. We'll have a pregame show as well. And then we also cover the Washington Commanders as well. We'll have the postgame show for that, following their week 1 game against the Giants. So we'll be continuing the coverage. And on Mondays, we'll go live, recap the week of NFL football, give you the scores, give you all the news and notes and storylines heading into the next week, any big news, injuries, things like that. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate everybody on X. Appreciate everybody on YouTube. This is the Flex Zone Podcast, your home for Maryland Terps football. Only place giving you sports how you want to when you need it. Home of combat sports and professional wrestling. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this college football. Thank you guys for watching. Maryland gets a big time win. Happy recap for the Terps inside the show. Great way to start the season. A win is a win is a win. You do what you're supposed to do and dominate the teams you're supposed to beat. Don't play with your food. Got to improve on the penalties, though. So let's see how they improve from week 1 to week 2, because it's going to be the biggest overreaction. It's going to be the biggest week of adjustments, and I think they can do that with the team that they have. Some of the young talent will come into their own. I think offensively with the coordinators and the coaches, they can continue to put their players in the best position to be successful. And we're going to continue to be successful here in the Flex On Podcast. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you, Raj. Yeah, Maryland did their thing this week. I know Raj was checking them out. Your boy Farouk, Dorian Fleming, all of that as well. So appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Shout out to D. D was at the game today. Happy birthday, my brother. Check out his channel, DieSportNet. Show him some love. High school coverage. He'll have your college or your high school football news, high school basketball as we into that, and all your recruiting news as well. I know he was happy to see all the recruits out there as well. So stay tuned. Great content coming up on the channel. We'll be here all day. We're always here. Hit the bell to know when we're live. Leave a comment if you're watching this video after the fact. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. Leave a comment. I'm getting out of here. Maryland gets the win. 39-7. Malik Washington shines in his debut. Defense dominates and a lot of penalties galore. A lot of laundry on a Saturday afternoon inside the shell. Shout out to all the Maryland Terps fans. Let's go out to support this team. Let's go out and show them some love and get them some energy as we head into week 2, Friday Night Lights. Love Friday Night Lights. So we'll be live for that game on Friday, and we'll keep you updated throughout the week. You'll get a preview as well throughout. You'll get a preview this week on the game as well, probably around Thursday. So stay tuned for that, and keep it locked to the Flex On Podcast. We're out of here, y'all. Have a great Saturday. I may see you later with more content for Clash in Paris. If not, we'll see you tomorrow live for the live stream of Clash in Paris here on the Flex On Podcast. Thank you for watching. Have a great Saturday, everybody. Peace. I'll see you when I see you.